Today is the extraordinary beginning of a new era. My name is Jared, and today I hereby unveil, in honor of Black History Month, a new project that I'll probably be doing for mostly February, maybe a little bit onwards. And very interestingly, this also manages to, how do I put it? I know that I said I wouldn't learn any new languages in 2018, and very interestingly, not everyone would actually consider Bahamian Creole to actually be a separate language, but rather a dialect thereof. But let's go ahead and have a read through in this regard. And even if it weren't actually a dialect of Standard English, then maybe the case could also be made that maybe Patois and Bahamian Creole are actually dialects of each other. But in any case, this is why I don't venture too far into this entire mess and tangle of what is a dialect and what is a separate language. Personally, I just simply like learning things that I like, and I don't like calling things or people names. That is all. The Bahamas, location and language. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas is an archipelago over 700 islands, rocks, and cay. What's a cay? It's the first time I ever heard that word. Like a cave. It's maybe something that's aspiring to be a cave, but probably can't be for whatever reason. Located in the northeast of Caribbean, southeast of the U.S. state of Florida, and northeast of Cuba. The population of the country currently totals more than 350,000, with the majority of the people living in the capital Nassau on New Providence Island. We should actually read this more the way I would read a religious text, then maybe people would be more inclined to take it seriously. As is the case in other English-speaking Caribbean nations, the majority of people in the Bahamas speak an English-based Creole, referred to by linguists as Bahamian Creole. Bahamians themselves prefer the term Bahamian dialect for their unique tongue. Tongue with a Q. Broadly stated, a Creole refers to any language spoken as a native tongue that has developed out of contact with two or more languages. In the case of Bahamian Creole, the languages involved are English and the myriad African languages spoken by the ancestors of the Bahamian population. Bahamian. Help me with this, please. Some linguists argue that the language spoken by most Bahamians has been significantly decreolized, as they as the Bahamian population. Why do I pronounce it in a different way every single time I see that word? Has had more contact with the outside world in recent decades, their language has become more like that of an international standard English. Nonetheless, there remains great diversity in Bahamian speech patterns. Among the Bahamian population, languages patterns vary along what is referred to as language. Is anyone still watching this? Is the Creole continuum? Those members of the population speak a variant, more like Standard English, are referred to as the acrolect. Those Bahamians speaking the strongest Creole variant are said to speak the basilect, like the king variety. Those speaking a variant somewhere between the acrolect and the basilect is said to be the mesolect. Okay, basilect furthest away from English, acrolect closest to English, mesolect somewhere between the two. Okay, so this website aims to be the first centralized clearinghouse on the web for the study Bahamian English issues. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and read through the dictionary. We're going to make reading through the dictionary super fun. Yahoo! Alright, fine. So, this is also significantly helpful because there are going to be a lot of sample sentences in here. Forward, introduction, Okay, wow, fun. So much text. You know what? I can probably actually do this. Okay, so, I know this looks intimidating. Okay, proverbial progressive marker, also spelled R, comes from the convergence of African proverbial marker, such as iwi or awe, as habitual marker, and archaic English like he's a-going, possibly reinforced by in the present progressive. Marks continuing infinitive. Okay, this doesn't mean anything to you, so why don't we just simply go ahead and read sample sentences, because the rest of it just simply seems to be the wall of text to end all wall of text. It's enough to probably make TLDR enshrined in someone's national constitution. Okay, you see what I've been do. And that's like, do you see what I am doing? So you see what I've been do. And then another sentence, is the same king now, what are they now? So probably it's the same king now, it is the same king, what that is reigning now. That's how it would be in standard English. So I'll say the sentences once more. You see what I've been do. Is the same king now, what are they now? And just they walk in the door, they start to try to rap with the girls. Okay, so and very interestingly note that there is probably no as, so like just as they walked. Also, another thing I've also noticed from the other study of Caribbean Creoles is that in many instances the verb conjugation is significantly simplified. And part of me actually really likes it that way, actually. Okay, so just they walk in the door, they started trying to rap with the girls. Also, another thing I learned on various other sites is that very much like in many other areas of the Caribbean, the TH becomes a T sound. So like tanks. All right. Okay, so another A. Okay. No, okay, equates two noun phrases. So no bookie, data you. Okay, so that is that, and you is also data you would mean like that is you. Okay, chances are you may have actually heard this usage in songs or what have you. Okay, having more fun than Elon man in a Ford truck. I don't even know what an Elon is actually. So having more fun than yeah. So the in this case works the same way that it does in English. Okay, so having more fun than an Elon man in a Ford truck. Okay, a 5 cent, a $5. So it's very interesting because in the standard English we have 5 cent coin or a $5 bill or a fiver in some case. And some in Bahamian English you can actually refer to it as right. Bahamian Creole, Bahamian Dialect, Bahamian English. Why don't we just call it Bahamianese from now on? Okay, a 5 cent or a $5. Okay, a back is time ago, so 5 years back. Wow, I really like that. Wow, it's actually very interesting because I remember my first Caribbean Creole was actually the Trinidadian one that was actually made possible because of the German language Weiss know-how book. And very interesting, I actually noticed that when I had actually learned to really speak it in some capacity, I just even when I was speaking the English that I grew up with, I spoke with significantly more poetic expressions and also more expressiveness. That effectively, it was like I was imbued with a new sense of life as an English speaker. Okay, abaco, probably Lucayan, but also Spanish abaco, abacus, and tui abaco is shea tree, a major island of the Bahamas. Okay, so all those lotus who intend to settle at the island of Abico, or Abaco as it was sometimes called. Okay, that's just geographical blah blah blah. Okay, abaras is how you'd say embarrassed. Okay, embarrassed. Or how Jesse was abaras. Again, note the ed present like embarrassed is actually falling out. Also, I think another thing that I also see is that sometimes the consonant blends like embarrassed, the becomes like abaras, like that. Okay, about or about. Okay, replaces at with time. So this happened just about 7:02 p.m. Okay, or just about in any case. Okay, after certain verbs. Okay, we start discussing about the problem. She described about Christmas. Wow, that's very interesting. This probably definitely shows a variety of influences from other languages. As sadly, my knowledge of languages from West Africa is very, very scant. And so, if you know anything about this, please let me know in the comments. Like, no doubt, I can imagine many scholars of Bahamian studies would probably actually know a lot more about these languages, and as a result, exactly how they've influenced the culture in many capacities. So, if you have that knowledge, feel free to share it. Okay, Abraham Bush. Okay, Abraham. It's very interesting because in Yiddish we also say Avrom, and we like pronounce it almost with like two syllables as well. Even when we want to say Avraham in full Hebrew. So Abraham is very much the same way. Okay, a shrub. Long Latinate name that I'm not reading out loud. Okay, Abraham cassava or Abraham cassava, a variety of bitter cassava. I confess to actually not even knowing what a cassava is. Okay, abroad is out of one's house, archaic in the that's very interesting because abroad actually means out of your house in archaic in the United States, but also not at home. So it's very interesting. This survived in the Bahamas, but it seems to have vanished in many other areas of North America. Okay, sentence. Some of our people go abroad to see some of their friends. Women teach their children how to behave in the home as well as abroad. Ha! That's fantastic. Okay, akara. Okay, pan Creole, further made from ground black-eyed peas. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll really be reading that. Okay. Ace on. Okay, this one right here. Okay. A U.S. a person outstanding in any activity. So excellent at. Okay, so he ace on hellishness, or he ace on dancing. Also, I think this is a verb. Wow, I'm probably gonna like go outside and gonna start using these expressions in 3 minutes. I'm so happy I discovered this. Okay, across or crossed. U.S. Okay, lay across the bed. Lay across the bed. So not across. It's another thing. Thought flash crossed my mind. So the cross becomes the cost. Again, I think this might also be from various other languages. I would imagine mostly from West Africa, but also I would imagine from Europe as well. And so, act your head. And I think it will be the last one, is to use common sense. And so this sentence would be, you are 20-year-old woman and you can't act your head yet. Oh, wow. Whoever made this dictionary deserves a reward of the highest honor. That is all I'm going to say. Also, just simply one final remark. I think really one reason I am making this series is because I know that a lot of, especially the Caribbean English Creoles, they get a lot of flack, sometimes even in the language learning world. And so as a result, this is me very emphatically saying that, these Creole languages are not bad English. They are just simply not varieties of English in many regards that are somehow inferior. And even if they are varieties of English, then they are just as equally valid as those from anywhere else. And so it's very interesting because concerning like Hiberno English or English is spoken in Ireland, or like Yeshivish, which is like English is spoken by Orthodox Jews, I think that they don't really get that variety of unfair treatment in the slightest. And so I think that I'm very, very glad to actually live here in Crown Heights in the heart of a Afro-Caribbean community, and I think that whenever I do something like this, I really feel as though I'm more connected to my community in many regards, and I get to actually really notice new details every single time I walk outside. Not also to mention the fact that Caribbean culture has been and continues to grow as a source of popular culture powerhouse, not only in North America, but also throughout the world. I remember when I was listening to Papua New Guinea radio, they were actually playing songs in Jamaican patois on the radio, and so this influence that we find in these islands has impacted us very, very deeply, like very much American popular music has. And so there will be a next episode in which I look forward to hopefully struggling less with this dictionary. But until then, this is Jared letting you know that today can be the day that you begin exploring. And you should definitely begin if you haven't already. And if you have already, continue exploring because you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Have a good one, and see you next time.